Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is Jesse with my buddy Anthony. Episode 2 of the podcast, still to be decided. So appreciate any name suggestions in the comments below. Let us know. But today we're going to focus on, we did an intro to me first episode. Today we'll do an intro to Anthony, learn about his origin story, what he's up to, and a little bit of like that. So, well, Anthony, let's get started, man. So talk about your origin story, why you started MMA, where you started, and
So when I got out of college, I was playing lacrosse and hockey in college. The hockey team was like ACHA club, and then the lacrosse was NCAA for the school. So I played two sports. I've like loved sports all growing up, and basically I just ran out of sports to play, and I just like, I've just always been an athlete and like always like had something to look forward to, regarding sports. So I think that's why I, started to like invest my, thoughts into MMA. And I was always a fan. Like I remember being, going into school all the way back. Like I loved John Jones.
Yeah.
Like John Jones when he was fighting like Glover and when he beat Rashad. Like I was watching the UFC back then when I was like probably, 9 or 10 years old. So I've always been a fan of the UFC and MMA in general. And then when I got older, I just needed something to do with my time. And I Googled the nearest gym near me when I got back home after college when I moved back to Maryland. And it was Bauer House MMA in Frederick, Maryland. And that's where I got started. That was probably like in like November of 2018 was when I started like actually like training for real at a real gym.
And then so like when you started training, were you doing specifically, you went into it doing MMA, or were you trying to start just jiu-jitsu or like striking? Like what was it like?
No, so I got into it like with the thought of always doing MMA. So like my initial like actual email to Chris Bauer was like, I probably still have it saved in my email somewhere, but it was like, I want to come to the gym, I want to be a member, and like these are my goals and this is what I want to do. Which like it's funny kind of looking back at it, because like, there's probably they probably get a lot of this messages all the time.
Yeah.
Of like people being like, I want to be a fighter and this and that. So I was probably just another one of those, but one of the ones that like stuck through it and like was actually serious about it. So yeah, that's basically how it started.
Dude, you're 100% right. Warren likes to tell me the story. So I first met Warren like at PNC, like I said last episode,
Banking
banking, being a banker. And then he jokes about it where he like gives his card to like everyone, free promotion, dude. Always give your card out to anyone. You never know who's going to show.
Yeah.
You show up. And he goes, to this day, I'm the only banker that actually showed up and like trained. And it's funny because like he goes like, oh, some of these dudes were like former wrestlers at Cauliflower. You could say because they were like big and tough. Like, oh, I'll do it. And then me, who just wanted to do something different and stay in shape, just as the one that randomly show up and then stuck with it.
Yeah, I think that's funny because like I come from like I think a more unique perspective than most people that train, just because I grew up playing a lot of team sports. Like I played basketball when I was younger. I played baseball when I was younger. I actually loved baseball. And then lacrosse, football. I played football until I got to high school, and then hockey. So like I kind of was around a lot of different like kids and like, kids with like, good homes, kids with bad homes, just like characters. And like, there's no like more diverse group of characters in a gym for some reason. Like, dude, I think it's cause like maybe there's a screw loose somewhere. So like everyone's got like a little bit of a screw loose. Like everyone's got like a little quirk to it. I think it's hilarious.
Dude, it's funny. I forgot what meme I saw about it. It was just like someone put, the gym is the only place you'll see a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, someone who's a criminal, and like someone who loves drugs, all in one place, all just rolling, no issues.
Yeah.
Like people of every different background.
A great time.
Yeah.
I think it's what's addicting about it. Like I feel like weird if I'm not around the gym for too long, because like it's just my place where I can, shut everything off.
Dude, I agree 100%. For me, the gym, I like to think about this, or even training any martial art. And I open it up to like, I enjoy jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and that, like, that's what I like. And I like, MMA, that stuff. But like, I think any kind of martial art, this is like applicable for everything. You just get this outlet when you go to the gym where you can just get better or work on yourself or do whatever. And it's a nice positive outlet that you can use. I've seen so many people myself, I'm using this anecdotally, but like I've improved my life like significantly since I started training, and like it feels good and I enjoy it. That's why I keep on coming back. But I think you could ask anyone in like, at least our gym, especially at Stout, but even other people who train in different gyms, most of the time, the ones that still stick with it, they feel like it's a positive outlet, whatever that outlet means to them.
Yeah. It's like an addiction to like a good thing in your life. If that makes sense. Like, it's like, this is a good thing for you and it leads to good things. And it's like good for your mental health, your physical health, unless you're like fucking shit. But like, other than that, like it's a positive thing. So once you find that positive thing in your life, it's like hard not to keep going back,
It's kind of like a real life RPG. Like people who played like I don't know if you ever played like Oblivion or Skyrim, like those RPG games, but like basic RPG games are just, you build your own character and you level it up and like you get better.
Oh, yeah.
This is just a real life like RPG for
I'm the video game character.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that you sent that email to Chris Bauer about, your goal was to train MMA, and it's impressive to have like think about this now, but like not a lot of people think about things like you did goal oriented. Because myself, when I started, I wasn't thinking about goals. I just was like, I want to get better. Very, open ended. But it's cool because now, though, recently, the last couple of years, I've been very goal focused on like my objectives. So with like MMA being your goal, what was like your plan for starting to fight? Like, did you want to fight? I know you started training seriously around 2018. Did you want to get a fight ASAP? Do you want to build your skills up, or what was your thought process with that?
I didn't want to rush anything because once I started, I immediately realized like how hard it is, and it's just not going to be that fast, like unless you're, unless you've grown up doing like a combat sport, or, you're just like that 1% who just picks things up and then like that. And, you're like John Jones or somebody who also did a combat sport growing up, but like, unless you're one of those people, like it's going to take time. So I realized that like very quickly, like, oh, I'm not going to find a fight in like probably like in even a year. So, I took my time, and it was a good thing because I needed that time. Definitely needed that time. So I would just focus on getting better and just trying to like honestly get into a good habit of being at practice all the time. Cause that's something I struggle with, just like consistency with things. So the gym has been, I think, undoubtedly like the most consistent thing I've done in my life, probably. Jobs included, schoolwork included, like all that stuff that's, it's made me find like a consistency in something. But what was your question? Like,
no,
like
like,
my goal,
like
like
so,
what did I do?
No, you pretty much answered it. I was just curious because we get people at the gym that are like, they come up to Coach Mike and Coach Will. They're like, yo, I want to fight in like 3 months. Like, I want to fight like ASAP. Or like, I want to get sparring. I was just,
But I think, I started to just do everything at once. Like, I didn't like pick a certain martial art and like focus on it for a long time. I just like, I would go to the gym and I would do a jiu-jitsu class and a striking class and then MMA practice every day. So I just did that for, when the COVID happened, like 2020. So like probably for like a year and a half straight, I did that. And that was my schedule. I would go to work and then I'd come home and then I'd go there.
You see, I like that training style where like you just, whatever you want to work on, like even if it's different types of arts, like, grappling and jiu-jitsu, it's completely different than striking, but I like doing both at the same time. And that's what I did when I started and like doing that, even though like I mostly focus on Muay Thai, but I like doing both together. But it's interesting. Some people like to do it the opposite. Like I've heard Coach Mike say this before, and like other people I've talked about it. They like to say like you commit to one first because it's just easier to learn one at a time, fully focus on that, and then add the other.
I mean, I think for the most part, that is probably the best thing to do.
We might have did it on hard mode. Yeah.
Well, because like, think about how easy it would be to learn math and just math and then get that down. And then you can go learn English or, science. Like I just went and was like, yeah, give me the math, the English and the science all at one time. And like, I'll little by little progressively figure it all out at the same time rather than like, me just focus on one thing for a long time and then try to add something else in, which, I mean, I really don't know the right or wrong way, but I would probably say the more
I think the easier route.
The easier route and the route that's probably going to get people to stick around the longest would be taking it like one step.
I think 95% of people, even 99% of people, I think you're right. I feel like I just had like the ADH brain where I was like, I'll just do both. You know, why not?
I think it is different though if your like focus is MMA from the jump. Because you kind of don't have a choice but to learn all those things at one time.
My thing is I'm like a student of the game. I just enjoy learning things. So I was like, I'll just learn better.
Some call you a doctor.
Yeah, a doctor of the game. Yeah. But yeah, no, for me, I just wanted to do both because I was like, you know, might as well learn both and just do that. But I feel like my development was a lot harder and slower because I was split focused.
Yeah.
Because then at the same time, like going to class is important, but I think it's also applying those lessons and doing those drills outside of class is how you actually get better, which you do like with your time, not just in the class period. And it's hard when you're learning two different things. We only have 24 hours in a day and I work 9 to 5. So it wasn't like I was just fully focused on just training and, you know, becoming a professional fighter or anything like that. So for me, I like to maximize my time, and it's hard to maximize it when you're split up. So I think to your point, for most people, especially if you have like a 9 to 5 and you're not like, you know, a high school kid or a college kid with all the time in the world, you got to train smart and efficiently. And that's like the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
So Anthony, with you just turned pro last year. What is your goal with MMA now? Like now that you've been training since 2018, it's been a while. So I feel like you might have some more concrete ideas what you want to do. So
I think the ultimate goal before I were to set new goals for myself would be, I want to get in the UFC. Like, I think that should be any fighter's goal. Like if you're not trying to be at the pinnacle of the sport, like I don't really know why you would put yourself through all this time, trouble, physical pain, mental stress, like all those things, unless that is your goal. And it should be your goal for a number of reasons. Most of the reason being it's the best promotion in the world where the best fighters are. So if you're part of that group, that's the group you're in. And the sport's not like, you know, it's not going to like pay you well unless you're at one of those big promotions. And even if it's a big promotion that's not the UFC, you're probably not making, you know, the best money. So that is my goal right now. I think little sub goals are to like fight for bigger promotions, you know. I just want to make this like worth my time. So I want to start getting like those checks of like bigger promotions, not like, you know, the local 4 you get or whatever.
Yeah. Now, dude, I'm a big proponent like of having like an ultimate goal, like you said, because, you know, not everyone will reach that ultimate goal necessarily. But I feel like if you don't set some overarching like stars in the sky goal, like the journey to it and like each level you get to it, it's still impressive and it still feels good that like, so say ultimately like you don't make it to the UFC, but what if you made it to PFL or what if you made it to 1? That's, you know, like we're always gonna be a little bit sad, like, oh fuck, I didn't get to the UFC. But then like, who knows if you would have made it to like one of those lower level promotions like that are still national or like global if you didn't have the UFC goal. So I'm always for like, I think in the world today, people are like, oh, you don't want to set yourself up for failure. And, you know, to an extent, I agree. But I feel like for goals, if you're not shooting for the moon, why the fuck are you doing
I think your goals should be lofty and they should be hard to achieve, because if you have these like little goals, which are good, they should be like little sub goals, you know? And like thinking back to when I first started MMA or wanted to start MMA, you know, like me being like later in life being like a pro and, you know, making money coaching and stuff like that. Like if you would have told me I would have been doing that when I started training, I'd be like, that's fucking sweet, dude. Like I'll take that every day. So like you said, like my goals being lofty have like landed me where I am now. And like, I can always, you know, get my knowledge back as a coach and, you know, I'm still fighting. So, you know, and I'm on the path to be able to accomplish my goals. So yeah. Yeah.
And then now a little curveball question, just because I'm a striker by heart. Since you do train MMA, what do you think is the best art to learn for it or the most important art?
Wrestling.
Right.
Sure.
You're gonna say that?
I just learned that the hard way. But for sure, wrestling, because like if you can wrestle, then you dictate where the fight takes place. Even if you can anti-wrestle, if you can duck takedowns, that's all you can do. Like, but you're very good at it. No one can take you down. Like, you're a hard puzzle to solve. So, and you can dictate where the fight takes place. On the other hand, if you're a phenomenal wrestler, no one can stop your takedowns. Like, you decide where the fight takes place. If you do want to sit there and strike with the dude, you can by all means do that. If you want to go thump him out of the ground or sub him and you have incredible grappling, like you can do that. Yeah. So I think for MMA, wrestling is the biggest or the most important base. And then right under that would be like Muay Thai or some like very applicable version of striking.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm 100% with you with Muay Thai. I think I am going to be even more like put my, foot down. I think Muay Thai is the best striking art for MMA.
I go back and forth with that and boxing just because I think like incredible boxers in MMA like eat people up. Like you look at Topuria, like I think Topuria's never thrown a head kick. He's only used his hands. Yeah. So like if you can't figure out someone's like high level boxing and they have like, halfway decent, grappling, like they're the most dangerous because like they're going to put you out with their hands. But the same token, like guys that are good Muay Thai strikers, like they can put you out all their limbs.
Yeah.
But like they're probably not going to have the boxing that you would have if you just focus on your hands. So I don't really know.
Yeah. So a counterpoint, or just to be a devil's advocate, for me, I'm thinking at not like traditional Muay Thai and like where you see at the stadiums, or you see like these fighters that are like phenomenal, maybe like they don't punch as much because like that's the knock on Muay Thai for a lot. And I think it just has to do with the scoring of it. A lot of people don't like to be punch heavy. They like to be kicks, elegant, like, and like, show off, kind of be like showboaty with like their like skill set. And that doesn't always translate to MMA because like in MMA, I feel like you want to get your guy down. Whatever your goal is, like you just want to, beat him up or like take away something or do something. I guess when I was saying that Muay Thai is the best art for like striking, because you get to learn everything. I think like, I wouldn't say like traditional Muay Thai is the best. Like I wouldn't do that in MMA, but I think because like you learn elbows, you learn clinch, you learn knees, you learn, punching, kicking, everything. That's why it's so important. Because some of the low hanging fruit to me and watching MMA is even at the highest level of the UFC, people don't like clinch well or elbow well or knee well. Like there's certain things that they're lacking in their toolbox. I do agree with you where you said elite boxing is just like, otherworldly sometimes. But I think that there's certain things like that people just leave and like they're like up against the cage. People aren't elbowing right or kneeing right or doing anything like that. There's certain things that are just missing that I think Muay Thai gives you access to.
For sure. I think also with the sport like Muay Thai, I compare it to where like in Muay Thai, it would be like if you had your weapon drawn already pointed at the dude, but like in MMA, it's like holstered because like you might not want to throw that kick on that wrestler because he might take you down. So like you got to like wait a second to see what he might do. And then you're going to fire your weapon.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like kind of like that with everything with MMA. So like there's a lot of like reading going on where like Muay Thai, I know there's like a lot of traps being set and like reading going on, but you don't have to like worry about getting taken down for like, trying to like wrestle up off your back or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like you get the strike. So I think it's kind of a good comparison I would always think about.
Oh yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned kind of like setting traps and all that, especially in Muay Thai. Our friend at the gym, Luke the Chef Lisi, just fought last Saturday. And, it was cool to see him like fight and just, even though it was only a couple minutes, round one knockout, it was just funny how you were saying setting traps and stuff like that, because that is his style. He likes to like throw something one round to set something up round two to continue on. So by like round five, he's playing his game. It's like very elegant looking, and it's a little bit like, I like to think about it on levels. Like, there's basic level 1, 2, 3. He kind of fights at like a level 3, where it's interesting because if you fight like someone way less skilled than you, level 3 might be doing too much. So it was fun to see him fight this guy, Jerome, where he was able to like do what he wanted. And then that just body kick was insane, dude. He just like, he did like a left body kick. It was like close stance fight. And just like the dude went down. And the guy gutted it out. I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the fight? No. It's, dude, all props to Jerome. Like he gutted it out. You could see on his face, like his liver shut down. Like he fell down, he got back up, and then he ended up getting 3 total knockdowns. So like it was like a TKO technically. But like dude was gutting it out. And Luke, as soon as he hit him once with the left kick, just started attacking the body for the next like 30 seconds, and two more knockdowns.
My favorite shit to watch is that one Muay Thai with the 4-ounce gloves. I think that's so fire,
dude. And I think that is what's been selling One, because like everyone has knocks on One or like what their own opinion on it, and some things I do like, some things I don't. But them putting the 4-ounce gloves with that has been like game changing, because to me it's just more entertaining now, and it kind of levels the playing field. So historically speaking, the best people at Muay Thai, of course, were the Thai fighters. They've just been doing it since they were like 4 years old, kids, and they've just been practicing. And when you start that young, learning like the kicks, there's certain things like you just can't, you can't catch up necessarily. And with how the scoring is, like they value kicks to the body, kicks, teeps, everything like that, more than just punching. Where like the American style or even the European style, we're all hands heavy. Like any striking art, like it's like historically because we love boxing, I don't know, but like we love our hands. So when foreigners would fight in in Thailand and all that stuff, they weren't necessarily more skilled, and then they were just going to punch heavy, so they wouldn't beat like the top tier guys. But now, because you have the 4-ounce gloves, all you need is one well-timed punch, well-aimed punch, and it doesn't matter how good the other guy is kicking wise, you might just get the win. And you've been seeing that a lot. I don't know how much you follow One, but like you get a lot more Westerners are winning. And not to take anything away from them. They're still very skilled and elite fighters. But if you were to tell me like, oh, they're fighting in the stadium, 9 times out of 10, the Thai guy, the skilled Thais will win. But like now, because you have those things, it just evens like the playing field.
Dude, I just put these up as props, but like I didn't need to use this for this. Yes. But dude, like I wish everybody could feel like right before they're about to walk out to the cage. Yeah. Like they're hand wrapped in this thing. Yeah. It feels like a rock on your hand. Like your hand's casted with a wrap and gauze and tape. Yeah. And then you have this little baby glove on. Like there's only that much padding over it. Like that's it.
4 ounces are small.
Yeah, bro. And it changes everything, because like big gloves, your defense is a little different, like in those gloves, like if your defense is not perfect, like something's going to get through. So I think it changes everything. Yeah. I love it. I think it's sick.
Oh, and that's the other thing I want to add is defense. Like you mentioned for punch defense, because when you have the big glove, you can just get away with like crappy defense and like doing this or slipping or whatever. But like if you don't have A+ defense in those little gloves, you're just taking undue risk.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is like to get knocked out isn't even like a hard punch. It's just if someone well times it and just puts it where it needs to go, elbow, whatever, you're like punch, elbow, anything like with your upper body, you're done. So like you got to have like well-timed defense.
Yeah.
Especially with that.
Very much agreed.
Yeah. But it does open up different types of defense, what works, what doesn't work. Like I think with little gloves, shelling is not, and that I don't know why people love shelling. I think that's kind of like a lazy defense, like big gloves, little gloves. But with little gloves, I think the ideal defense is a mix of like head movement and then just like catching parrying punches. Like I think that's the best thing you got to do. Especially, might as well use it, man. Like you have the ability to open up your whole hand.
Yeah,
just
that's how I've always taught like beginners how to like have good defense in MMA. Like you want to same side catch everything. Like open your gloves up like big baseball mitts. Because like if you fuck up and cross your hands up and like you're gonna catch like a big rock on your face. Not no fun.
And for me, like that's what the other thing that opening up the gloves and head movement does is I think you want your eyes as available as possible. And when you're in like this guard, you might get your eyes like blurry or whatever. Because one of my underrated things,
peripherals are going.
Yeah, one of my underrated things I love doing in like sparring, at least the tests I haven't done in a fight, is I love to like throw a punch and then kind of keep it there and kind of like,
Yeah, bro,
Right.
you pissed me off.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because like people aren't used to it and they think it's like, they're like, what the fuck is going on? And all I'm doing is just want you distracted. And then I do
Dude,
something.
like I'll be sparring Jesse, and like I'm like, oh, he's got his hand sticking. I'm gonna fucking smash his head.
Yeah.
And like I can never get to
Yeah.
it because like your long defense is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always fucking pisses me off when you do that shit.
And it's just like, I just want to test things out and see how people react.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things. I've not gotten the same reaction from people multiple times with it. So I got to figure out like how I want to add on to it. My initial thought with like that waving thing is like, I put my hands there and then just attack the body.
Mhm.
But some dudes are, I think, assume that the body's going to come next. So I just got to figure out like level 2 now with like distracting their
Yeah, I don't
face.
think
So, okay, we talked about Luke, his fight last week. Well, that kind of is a nice segue to the ONE FC championship. One championship 170 that's coming next Saturday. So this one's going to be cool. It's going to be a mixed card, and they always do the mixed card. It's going to have Muay Thai, kickboxing, and MMA. My thing is, I'm super excited about it because my favorite Muay Thai fighter currently is Taiwanchai. He's like the southpaw. He's fighting Superbon, which if people don't know, Superbon was one that had the sick head KO knockout of Giorgio Petrosian, who was, at the time considered like one of the GOATs of kickboxing. And he just got clean head kick knockout, and it was wild a couple years back. But this one's going to be a nice rematch because Taiwanchai won last time. And for me, I'm a southpaw, so I just love watching open stance fighting. So that's what got me pumped about this. What do you like about Taiwanchai?
Dude, I just think he's so like clean. Like I don't know. Like he never throws anything that's like for nothing. Like all of his like T1s are like straight to the body. I don't think I've ever really seen him throw a lot of T2s, but
it's wild because like technically the T2 is more open and more into the body.
Mhm.
I agree. That's one thing I noticed. That's the one you want to throw more in open stance, but he just loves throwing that lead fucking T.
And his boxing is like elite. Like he'll touch you up with his hands.
Dude, he's so like as a Thai, like he seems so comfortable in those little gloves. No issue whatsoever, dude. He just goes.
Zero.
He just fucking goes.
Yeah, he doesn't change his game at all between Muay Thai gloves and 4-ounce gloves. But yeah, like if you go watch a lot of Taiwanchai's knockouts, like he's a dog. He's gonna come at you. Like he's not like trying to like outpoint you. Like he's trying to finish you. He's trying to hit you hard. So that's why I like to watch him too. He's a finisher.
Dude, yeah. It's like, and it's cool is that his finishes aren't the same. Like he analyzes his opponents and just does what is available to him. That's what he'll do.
Damn, I can't think of his name, but he had kicked someone nasty as shit.
Oh yeah. And because it's what one's Instagram likes to pull it up a lot, and it's just like I just see the end of the clip where it's just like a clean, like hits him right on the chin, and then the dude's
and
out.
it was like during COVID when they didn't have any fans, so like the whole arena is like empty, and you can hear everything, and you just hear this dude's chin get whacked by his foot. It's nasty. Or it's probably like half shin, half out. But yeah, the card should be good. I admittedly don't watch a lot of like live. I'll like go back and watch like reruns or highlights. That one post. So I don't know shit about this card, but I'm sure it'll be fire.
Yeah. And the cool thing with one thing I like about them a little bit more than like the UFC is like rewatching cards and stuff too. They put a lot of their stuff right on YouTube within like a week or two, so it's nice. You don't have to wait. Like, are they okay? That's cool. I didn't notice it. Instead of like because the month wait sometimes is like annoying, and I understand like that's a pay-per-view. It is what it is. But like I figured like you got to have some kind of benefits to UFC Plus, or like like the Fight Pass and everything, and it'll just be cool like. Even if it's 2 weeks, like just so you can like watch the fights. Because I think we watch it differently where we want to watch it to maybe take something away and like learn something from it. So that's why I'm always watching YouTube on one fights, like, and just Muay Thai Stadium fights. Because I just want to see what these southpaws for me do and like what works for them, what doesn't. Because I just always want to add on to my tool belt.
I agree with that. And I think it's because they like don't want to get like I know from like regional promotions they're like really strict about like don't post this anywhere for like 30 days. Yeah. And I'm just thinking like, dude, if they didn't buy it when the fight happened, like they ain't buying it. Yeah. So like it's past 24 hours, like, who gives a shit? Like, I would think that you would want more people to see your product, like, rather than put it behind a paywall. I don't know.
No, I agree, dude. Unless the only times I feel like these regional promotions, or not even regional, but just these promotions that put stuff behind paywalls, the only time you're ever going to get a buy after the fact is either someone's family is like, yo, I just want to watch it because I missed it, or someone's opponent. Like, one thing I will do, like, if I knew, like, if I just know, but like the opponent's going to buy the video regardless if it was like 30 days or not. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, I think, like, you know, that like customer, you want to say, they're already sold that they're going to buy it to watch it anyways. The people that are going to watch.
I've had 10 fights, and like trying to find a video on an opponent, and then it's like blocked behind a paywall, or maybe he fought for a promotion that didn't even have a stream. Like, that shit annoys me.
Yeah.
So,
okay, because that's, I think, our one argument.
I would want that if I was fighting. If you can't find my video, like,
it's funny. That's the watching your opponent. I think that's the one thing we both are on opposite sides of it, for amateur at least. I remember we had you, me, Tim, we were having this discussion about like watching film and everything. Because I have a unique take on it, at least amateur wise. And I know you were the opposite. So my take on it amateur wise is I'm a bigger fan of like, just worry about yourself. You have to do what you need to do. Like, there's no point in taking brain space or any kind of space into your opponent and just being like, what if? Because I feel at the amateur level, people might level up so quickly, or different things where, like, say I would fight 1 and I'm fighting fight 2 or fight 3, like early on, like, you might be completely different. So I don't like to like waste time on that, because I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna pose my game on them. And I know you had the opposite take.
While I do agree with and understand that opinion, like, when you had a test in elementary school, did you study for it? Yeah. If you had a test in high school, did you study for it? Yeah. Well, what about college? If you had a test in college, did you study for it? Yeah. Well, just because it's an amateur fight, why would you not study for it? You know, that was always my thinking. And it's like, well, are you trying to win? You know?
Think about it. You'll study for an AP test, but are you going to study for like a normal history class test?
I didn't study for it.
When I view that as, you know, you were amateur and you hit pro. Yeah. Now you're going to watch film. Now you're going to attack it.
Yeah, I said that very like hypocritically. Yeah. Like, I didn't study for much in school. But I'm
just putting out there, you know, AP different than normal, or, you know, wherever you are. College is different than even AP. So like, you view it as like text. You're not trying to just, you know.
But that's like, that is a detrimental way of thinking, because you're already thinking like, oh, this fight's going to be easy, where you should never really think that, in my opinion, to the point where like, you don't want to prepare for it, or like you'll like put off certain preparation for it. So, I mean, I adopted that when I heard John Jones always talk about how much he watches film. And I'm like, oh, well, he's the best fighter of all time. So if he's saying it's like this crazy thing to not watch film, it probably is. Like, and I don't want to get in a cage, and then the first time I'm ever seeing what this dude likes to do is when he's in front of me. You know, I don't care if it's amateur or not.
So it's funny, I evolved a little bit now. So I just like to now be aware, and especially because I'm still at the amateur level fighting, I just like to be aware of like their tool, like, you know, their like preferred methods of stuff. Like, if they're a kicker or a puncher, or, you know, maybe they're good at the clinch, I just like to be aware of like something like they are, what hand they are for me. And then that's all.
You like the basic pull.
Now I just like the basic pull ones. I'll just watch something basic and then just ignore or not focus on like, yo, if they do this, I'm going to do this. Like, say someone throws like a left kick at me, I'll be like, oh, to counter that left kick, I'm always just going to punch or do whatever. I just want to be aware of what's happened so nothing surprises me. But then what I shift my focus on is my game plans. Like, in this, I'd be like, hey, this fight, I want to kick a lot. Or this fight, I'm going to like want to strike like with my hands more, or clinch, or do whatever. Or they say they're a little bit taller than me, so I'll be like, oh, I'll stay outside. Oh, they're shorter than me, I'll go like, you know, long, or that. So I use that and just focus on myself and just have that. So I think that middle ground is the right way to go, where like, because I don't want to put, it's weird calling it empty brain space, but like take up brain space of like, oh, hey, he likes to do this certain thing, this, and like I'm just gonna always do that because people change so much. I don't want to focus on that. I just want to be like, yo, I'm fighting this dude. Because win or lose, if I can't do my game, I'm gonna lose. So if I can't like strike with this guy or like punch this guy or kick this guy, yeah, I'm fucked anyways. Yeah.
But I just think that like when I fought Eric Bice for my amateur title, I knew exactly where he would put his head if he shot on me, which he did.
Yeah.
And that's how I won.
You got that quick.
I was doing guillotine standing from that side for weeks. Because I'm like, if he puts his head here, I'm going to be prepared to deal with that, which he did. And then my first pro fight, I'm like, this dude likes to throw inside leg kicks. Sure enough, first thing he throws is an inside leg kick. And he throws it again, then I check it. And then that's the sequence that started the finish. So, like, I think it should be a mix of, because you're studying for this person, you're well prepared for them, and not letting it become like this negative thing where you're, like obsessing about things that you can't control.
Yeah. And I think ultimately we can both agree on this. We're like just two sides of a different coin, but I think our basic premise of like studying film, not studying film, all comes down to you want to be properly prepared.
Yeah.
And I think like whatever that looks like for you is what you're going to have to do. Like you said, like you want to prepare for the test. So for you, studying film helps you prepare. For me, I know that I don't need the film, but I know I'm going to focus on like, I'm going to hit pads like with a purpose, drill with a purpose, and do that stuff and be prepared. And
which is just as important
for it. And then to that end, all that matters is you want to go into the cage or the ring being like, yo, win or lose, I know I put all my effort in for this. And I think that's what you ultimately have to do to be successful in combat sports. You just have to. And then in anything, of course, yeah. And then, yo, Raj, what is the other fights on the card?
There's a Fabricio Andrade.
Yeah.
Juan Juan.
So I know you're not too into MMA, but Fabricio is like this Brazilian MMA fighter. He's like a champion for them. He's fun to watch.
This is one.
Well, yeah. This will be like, so the main event is Super Bond and Taiwan Chai. And then this is the co-main. Yeah, 4 hours Muay Thai, I believe. Yo, is Taiwan Chai kickboxing or is it say Muay Thai?
It says MMA World.
No, the one above Taiwan Chai and Super Bond.
Oh, it's Muay Thai World.
Yeah, because that's one thing they're. It's interesting. If it says kickboxing, it's big gloves. If it's Muay Thai, the little ones. Yeah, sweet. That's a distinguishing factor.
Is that on tonight?
No, next. It'll be next Friday.
Oh, next
Friday or next Saturday.
Are they on Amazon?
Yeah, this one's gonna be on Amazon. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about it. Like, I'm glad that they have the deal with Amazon because you can watch it whenever.
Yeah, and everyone probably got Amazon.
Yeah.
So good. They put themselves on that platform.
Yeah.
Everyone see.
And then it's funny, on the same night or the next day, or I don't know exactly, PFL is having a card in Abu Dhabi or Dubai or wherever, somewhere down in the Middle East.
That's versus
Paul Hughes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just excited to watch that one. I wish I was more of a fan of PFL or like Bellator and those guys, but I don't really know too many anyone else on that card. But I'm excited for Paul Hughes versus Usman.
Yeah, the only time I ever really watched PFL is like if I know someone on the card. I'm not like tuned into PFL.
In this fight, I'm just excited to watch because Paul Hughes is like a young up and comer, and it's funny, he's from like one of my favorite fighters, Conor McGregor's like, home country, so it's always nice to see that. I don't know if he's gonna court him or not. Yeah, that would be the best, dude. Especially because like you gotta add more. Like PFL just needs more media attention. You want, because if you're trying to compete with the UFC, you want all the publicity. It doesn't matter good or bad. You just gotta like.
One thing that pissed me off when I saw all the news about Bellator this week was like all these guys that fought for Bellator or like supported Bellator. They're like, oh my God, Bellator's dead now, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, what did you think was going to happen, dude?
Yeah.
PFL bought you out.
Yeah.
Like, they bought you out because you were either not going to be able to, like, you were going out of business or people weren't watching you and you're probably going out of business. So PFL bought them and then, like, kind of kept the brand around, but it was, like, still owned by PFL. It was weird. But then everyone now is like, oh my God, like, poor Bellator, like, I can't believe it's gone. And, like, all the champions are like like talking shit about how like they couldn't find fights and stuff,
Yeah.
which is like fucked up. But like,
Oh yeah, especially because they're like the one thing with,
obligated.
especially with like fighter contracts, the proper form is a certain number of fights.
Yeah, dude.
It's not like NFL where like
Yeah.
you, or like other professional sports where you get signed for a certain amount of years necessarily. Some have it fight. So like they're just like, yo, they might only fight because, you know, injuries happen. Ideally, people might only want to fight 3 or 4 times. So say you're on like a 6 fight contract or something even longer. That might be 2-3 years of your life just like held up. And you know, this is more of a young man's game than an old man's game.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You want to get going and you want to fight in your prime.
I don't know why the PFL didn't just scrap Bellator when they bought them.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I think, a mismanaged part of that. Like, sure, their fights do whatever, but like your brand is PFL.
Yeah.
You just be like, yo, Bellator fighters, you're in, and just get it
that's
go.
what it was. It was like, oh, they're not going to use Bellator's like logo anymore on the titles and stuff. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't
Would they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Like, it's done.
Yeah.
It's over. It's been over. That's why they got bought out.
Yeah.
But I think like I don't think any promotion can compete with the UFC. I think the UFC is too big. I think it's like the NFL now in terms of like no other league is ever gonna like rival them or give them like headaches or trouble.
Why do you think no one's going to rival them? Do you think it's, and let me preface in 2 parts. Do you think it's like the way they run MMA, or do you think MMA is only going to be like an event-based type thing?
Well,
like,
what's the product, right?
Yeah.
The fighters, right? The product is the fighters. The product is the fights you put on.
Mhm.
So in order to put on high-level fights with high-level fighters, you have to be able to compensate them to what they feel is fair. So when you have these promotions that start up, I don't think these promotions really understand how, like really how little you have to pay the fighters if you actually want to run like a sustainable business that's like not losing money.
Yeah.
So like the UFC minimum contract now is at like 12 and 12. Like Bellator can't put on an event every week, or PFL can't put on an event every week and pay these dudes a minimum of 12 and 12. They'll go out of business.
Yeah.
So like these promotions are going to they're either going to put on less fights that they can't rival like the schedule of the UFC because they can't afford to, or they're going to put on a bunch of events with fights that people don't want to see because you're going to have to fill it with low level pros or just definitely not the level of fights that the UFC are going to be at. So I just think the UFC's got to a point where like they have money to eat everybody, you know?
Yeah. And it makes sense.
Even if it's indirectly.
And that makes sense. If you think about it, was PFL's big gimmick previously was $1 million tournament.
Yeah.
Like you win the season and you win the tournament, you win $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Which is dope.
Yeah. But we don't, you know, but guess what happened now this year?
Yeah,
they bought Bellator last year. You know, I'm guessing they're not making as much money as they thought or hoped or whatever, because, you know, like this year they slashed it in half. And it's funny how 500,000, even though that's a good bit of money, doesn't sound as nice as having the 1 million. Like it's just weird, like that.
And then you get that tax and cut in half. So you're making like $250K to fight some dogs.
Oh yeah.
So
especially now, because the rule changed too. They just announced the elbows are legal now. So it's like, it should have always been legal to me, but now it's gonna be fun to see that. Like
I don't know this. Was the PFL like previously, before they just changed the tournament prize, were they paying fighters like a show and win?
I don't know what their contracts were on.
If they were in the tournament, because like, are they competing for the $1 million and taking like some low show and win, or were they getting like a decent show and win, like couple, like 10 grand, whatever, 10, and also competing for the $1 million? Because I heard that they're slashing the tournament to 500,000, but like everyone's gonna get like good show and win money.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
My guess is because, you know, they want to differentiate themselves from the UFC and you still want to attract people. I'm guessing they've always, I'm guessing they've always had good or decent like show and win. That's I'm guessing, like, I don't know. I wish I would like, so my thing is this, I think to live comfortably.
Think about if you're gonna like, you're not going to be guaranteed your win money. No one is.
Yeah. So
Show money.
my thing is this. What do you think is like a comfortable, like any given city, like salary for a year? My thing is, I think you can live comfortably by yourself, like 75,000. Like not fancy, not anything like this, but like you can feed yourself well, get good groceries, get good like fuel. You can train, do like that. So my guess is this. If you make 75,000, so if you got like, and I doubt anyone does it, but like say you fight 3 times a year, because that's like, I think a safe bet. You can fight 3 times a year, like even with injuries or whatever, like, you know, safely. Maybe like 25,000 show rate would be ideal, because then you make like 75,000.
But you're not getting that until your second UFC contract.
Yeah.
So you're definitely not getting that in PFL.
Yeah. My guess is with their $1 million, and we'll have to double check and figure it out. We'll know for the next episode. But I'm guessing they give like maybe for show 5,000 and maybe win like 20.
So they're giving you like a.
I think they should incentive. Yeah,
that'd be dope, honestly. But like, I don't know. It's just I don't know how to answer that question, because it's just all kind of circumstantial based off of like, you know, how much money do you need to live and what are your bills and shit. But like, I think to be in the UFC and for your show and win money to be 12-12 is like criminal. Because let's say you just worked your whole adult life to get to the pinnacle of the sport, and fought dogs to get there. Now you're fighting a dog in the UFC, and you lose a split decision, or you get caught or whatever, you lose. So now you get 12 grand. Well, you got to pay taxes on that, because they're gonna give you the 12 grand straight up.
Yeah.
Unless you like,
because you're a contractor. So you're 1099.
You're a 1099 employee. So they're going to give you the 12 grand. I don't know. I did see a pay stub where they took tax off for it, but whatever. But so you're going to probably get like half of that, or a chunk of it taken out. And then they're going to deduct your medicals, your airfare, all your fees and licensing bullshit like that. And then you got to pay probably a coach. If you pay your gym, like, you're not making shit if you lose in the UFC, and like you're taking your hardest fights in the UFC, which is just crazy to me.
And say like, God forbid, you also get hurt. So say, what if you get like not like a season ending, I'm talking about, it's like NFL, but like an injury that's like a year long.
Yeah, you're out for a minute.
Dude, you only made 12,000 for the year. Like you're like, kind of screwed.
On paper.
Yeah, on paper.
Probably have like 6 grand of it in your bank account.
Yeah. And the other thing too, I think it's like, that makes like the 12-12 like very underpaying a lot of athletes, is the fact that athletes can't even like promote themselves. Like, you know, they have to wear standardized shorts, standardized, like, you can't like, because I know back in the day when it was like, you know, the Wild West, you could have whoever you wanted on your shorts, you get your own, like, and so to reward people, like, even if you're not the best fighter, if you're just a personable person, have good socials or whatever, you could, you know, just be like, you know, get sponsored by whoever. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest. It doesn't make sense to me, because the UFC, like, that's not money that's like, say, like, UFC has to pay, like, the sponsorships and all that stuff. Like, I would just, and I know they have their own sponsors and like they have to answer to them, but I would just be like, yo, these fight shorts, hey, sorry, we'll put you on the cage, do whatever, but hey, fight shorts are gonna be fighters only, and they can find who they want, because that's just free money for the fighters. And then the 12-12 is a lot more bearable for people if they know that, hey,
I want to make 200 grand in sponsors.
Yeah.
I watched Rampage versus Vanderlei Silva last night.
Yeah.
And I felt that immediately. I'm like, dude, this looks like NASCAR. Like, these dudes have like 40 logos on their shirts.
And the cool thing is, you know, you can still have a standardized uniform where everyone's like, you can be like, hey guys, you're only allowed 6 logos, 4 logos on the shorts.
Yeah, that's how Combate Global does it. Like, they print the shorts, make them from their like sponsored retailer, whoever does them, and then they have like a couple of different spots where you can put your logos on there. So I think that'd be cool. But on the flip side of that, I do think like them having Reebok and then everybody looking the same in the cage, like, legitimize the sport, you know?
Yeah.
Because I go back and look at those old fights, I'm like, yeah, it looks like NASCAR.
See,
like,
I agree to like the old shorts, but I do think you can have a legit uniform and look very organized with just being like, hey, you guys get 6 logo spots. Like, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, two on the back or
No,
whatever.
I agree for sure.
And then you can just be like, hey, they all have to be this size, and it is what it is. Because then, as a fighter, all you're gonna do is just sell it like that. Just be like, hey guys, I have like a 4x4 spot. Do you want it? Yes. Okay, deal. There.
Dude,
Like-
Darren Till said that like when he was in the UFC, this company was gonna give him like $200,000 to be a sponsor. But,
Yeah.
like the deal was like it had to be on the shorts and couldn't do it because
Yeah.
it was during Reebok. So like they got to turn deals down like that too, which is kind of fucked up.
And then so a hypothetical question we'll add. I know, UFC is the best promotion, like the most popular, the best fighters in the world are in that promotion. What do you think a promotion needs to do to maybe overtake them? Possibly. Even if what do you think is like, say like I'm thinking, even if you're losing money, say some billionaires just like, yo, actually Mark Zuckerberg is a perfect example. He's a huge combat sports fan now. What if he just decides to be like, yo, I don't care, if I'm losing money on this, I'm just going to pay fighters throw money out there.
Yeah, that is the first step to that question. Like you need financial backing and like a lot of it to rival the UFC or overtake it because they're bought by like some the people in WWE.
Yeah.
So like they got billions of dollars, but you need a lot of money. And then you just need to make sure that your production's good and that you have a full schedule because unless you can compete with the UFC schedule, like you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
So you need the money to pay everybody and the schedule.
I think
They added a Logan Paul fight on the card too.
I don't think that does what
not for the
people think it
fans.
does.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying so they make more money, so then they can get better fights, so they can pay people more. It might upset some people, but do you think more people would watch just to watch? Well,
Yeah, they would.
People watch a lot to see CM Punk.
Yeah.
That was the guy in the he fought in the UFC.
They
To
would,
see
that's
the-
not sustainable.
yeah.
Like Jake Paul, let's say he has 5 MMA fights, right? That probably lasts over the course of like 3 years. Well, I hope your business plan wasn't a 3-year plan. Like you got to find a consistent, way to run your business. So I think that's what I kind of like think is wild about the UFC now is like, they went from having like, they were star driven, like they needed stars for their promotion to, thrive. Like it was Conor, it was Rampage, it was Chuck Liddell, it was Tito Ortiz, Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, like all these people. But the UFC's gotten so big now where like they're creating stars just by the amount of fights they put on. Like fans are going to tune in and be like, oh, I saw that dude fight like 3 months ago. Like I really like that guy. And like that, they don't even need stars anymore. Like they're on autopilot.
Dude, the brand UFC is the star.
Right.
In there. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like for fighters, sometimes you guys will know, because I know Jesse, this card's not going to go, but I'll still see the people, I don't want to say casual, but the ones who just enjoy the fighting on Twitter still go, UFC tonight, like this is my card, like this is what I'm betting, guys, like let's all go. But then when I talk to you guys, they're kind of going to be an okay card and, nothing crazy, but we'll still walk.
Dude, it's funny because like people just want to see people fight because like me and Anthony can attest to this on the regional level and like the lower level stuff. You'll get people at these MMA events like in person that are just like, oh, I had nothing to do on Saturday. I just want to watch some people that have nothing. They don't have anyone on the card, no family, no gym membership or anything like gym member in that, but they'll just want to watch people. Like it's just wild to see people.
Yeah.
Like they're just no fighting.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy to me that like people are that big of fans. Well, they'll just show up to like a regional show. It's super cool.
Yeah.
I think even like before COVID's what took the UFC like up here. But I think even before that, like I don't think a promotion was ever going to rival them. I think it's just past that point.
So what's kind of interesting to me, and it's been like percolating in my brain, is the idea of having a promotion that potentially piggybacks off of like the franchise model of like, how like in the NFL, each city has their own team. I don't know, some promotions are kind of doing that, but I think if someone can unlock that franchise idea, like team-based aspect, but tailor it to the individual level where like, even if it's something as simple as like, each gym has like, they like track their win-loss records. And at the end of the year, hey, the top gym.
College wrestling.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. I think the only to people's points, like you need to do something extra than just put on MMA shows.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and just figuring out how to unlock it
Mhm.
is the right way, where like you still do it and you put on a good show, but then you like it gives you that extra effort that makes it more interesting and
Well,
get people
if
invested.
you had them in cities and they're like sports teams, then you
Yeah.
can find owners that want to buy one,
Yeah.
and have money to like back it, and that can pay they can pay the fighters, and the promotion pay the fighters,
Yeah.
or they could both be paying the fighters.
What I'm thinking,
Yeah.
you might actually, one would be a good way to give back to the gym owners, and like especially the ones that just love their old school gym, not old school gyms, but are like more training gyms and less about like making money.
Mm-hmm.
Is having gyms buy into like a promotion, be like, yo, you can have your own team. Like, so we would have like a stout team, like a mat factory team, like an academy team. They're all in this promotion, and then like they buy into it,
Yeah.
but then they get guaranteed like, oh, hey, your fighters will fight here. Like I mean,
Yeah.
to a certain point, you also want to put on good shows, but you can be like, hey, you can have like this many, like each one, you can say each gym gets like 5 fighters.
I think it should be like just like a team sport.
Yeah.
Like the owner, like let's say there was a Pittsburgh team, like the Pittsburgh owner would buy the team, buy facilities, buy a gym, like hire a coach. You pay the fight, that team pays the fighters, and then you go compete against other teams, 135ers or 145ers, and then the league just kind of manages all the teams. Like, I think that could honestly work.
Do you guys think that's a better model, like week to week? Say you have like 15 team roster, and then every week 3 fights. So they won't fight again for say whatever 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, and then they recycle back in. Or do you think it's still better every whatever couple months, and you just do bigger cards?
Well, if you had teams around a bunch of different cities, you could still put on an event every week, probably. Like if you had a roster of like 2 or 3 dudes in each weight class, that way, like, you know, you guys all get ready to the fight at the same time. If this dude drops out, can't do it, like everyone's still got fights happening. So I think if you had enough teams, you could rival the UFC schedule.
I like that a lot.
I think that's super sick.
I think I would watch.
Yeah. And then the other thing I think you have to do, because they just do it so well, and it like people love to see a good production, is take away from what the Japanese promotions do better than any other promotion. They just put on a fucking show. It's like Coach Will was saying, like back in the day, Pride, like they all just like, people have entrances, do all that stuff. Because I think to us, like at least me growing up, one of my favorite things about WWE and like wrestling
Stage
was like, the entrances, they would come out, like I would know like these, like they would have that same walkout song and you're like, oh shit, and they just go in. Because like for me, that's why for my walkout song, for like my fights, I haven't changed it, because I want people to know like, oh, when that song comes on, oh, that's Jesse. Yeah. Yeah, it's a doctor. Yeah. And it's just like that kind of thing, like just having
heart rate monitor.
Yeah. But
you run to the cage and stuff. You're like, I'm here to whatever.
but like, yeah, do costumes, whatever it is, like come out, like, dude, you know what people still talk about? Because it was just a wild way to come out when Brian Hess came out in like the Hello Kitty thing.
Mhm.
Like you just come out and just, you know, we still talk about, it was just like an amateur fight, but like, dude, at the gym we talk about,
was there like members.
Yeah. And that's what it is. I think you have to have a good production, and it's not hard to do it. You just have to invest a little bit of time and effort into it with some kind of like gimmick or some kind of like style or whatever you want to like that gets people invested. And then you add in, you just got to pay the fighters so you get the best fighters. Like you just need those 3 things. And I think there is potential to overtake the UFC. And that's why I've been like stressing on that little, like, you know, city idea, franchise idea, because people love to be invested in something. Like you talk to like in a regular sport like football, like the NFL, and I'm just speaking as like from a Steelers fan perspective, people like always say like my team, you know, my players, this thing, even though they're not an owner, people just get so invested. And I think if you can somehow get that same investment for like a promotion, you're going to get a good fan base.
Yeah,
that's
I feel
loyal.
like it's easier to care about a team than like an individual.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah,
I think that'd be sick.
perfect. And then another segue I want to mention, just because I'm a fighter, like a striker mostly, is do you think we could get a viable striking only promotion? Because like right now, the best striking promotion, at least world recognized, is one championship, but they don't just do only like kickboxing or Muay Thai. they always have a mixed card. Like K1's kind of like lost a little bit of like, I guess popularity. Like there's not as many like one knock on striking, which is no fighter gets paid. Like one is the first one. And I think that's why they like started taking off. Is they're actually, or supposedly, I don't know. I haven't seen a one contract, but like they pay their fighters well. And you always hear like the $50,000, like the $100,000. Like they always like give those bonuses too, so that makes people happy. Like during when that card is on. But that's like going back. Sorry, I just went off tangent. Do you think a striking promotion could exist and get popular?
Yeah, because I mean, at the heart of MMA, like I think people like to see throw down, which is why boxing was like a popular sport. Sure, still is, but it's not as popular as it once was. But yeah, I think people like to see people strike. They like don't want to see people get held down.
Yeah.
I hear it from like a lot of the casual fan base, and it's like not honestly like it is sometimes not fun to watch. So I think like a striking only promotion like would catch people's attention, but it has to just be ran well.
Yeah.
Like it has to be promoted well so people know about it. It has to be good where like good fighters want to come fight for them so that the fights are good. But yeah, I think it could exist. I just think they need the right people around it.
Yeah. What is interesting is I don't know if anything is true. I just heard some rumors because UFC is like trying to heavily invest in jiu-jitsu. Like they signed Mike Musumeci and like doing that. I wonder if they would ever want to do like a striking thing or like a Muay Thai thing or a kickboxing thing. I feel like it takes away from MMA too much because they're too similar. So it'd have to be someone separate.
Yeah.
But like I would love to see something that's like, especially with people talking noise about one, it's not as good as everyone says it is. It would be cool to have like one UFC version of like.
I would have to imagine that
like on that level
striking
popular
only promotion would rival the views of a jiu-jitsu only.
You see, I think they would. I think it might even super.
Well, me too.
Yeah,
I like
people do.
I can't watch jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I do. I practice jiu-jitsu and I still can't watch it.
I love the role. I love being on the mats. I can't watch it.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's not entertaining to me. Whereas striking, like, my thing is, with striking, like, even if it's just like a round one knockout, say like you have 10 fights, sorry. Even if all of them were like round one KOs, I would be like, yo, that was, even though it only took maybe like an hour, I'd be like, yo, that was sick. You could still put on like 10 jiu-jitsu like matches. And even if they're all round one submissions, I'll be like, like
yeah, unless you're Mighty Mouse throwing catching an arm bar.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like a little hard to be as entertaining as a striking fight. But
that's what I'm just like, I was just thinking about me as a striker. If we can get a striking promotion as high as the UFC and just being like, yo, this is where people want to fight and want to watch, because I don't know what it was. It was just like, I watched the one card last week with like Luke the Chef, and he was saying, hey, this $50,000 is life-changing money, all that stuff. And it sucks that he had, like, for him, he's dedicated his whole life. He's been training since he was a kid. Like, he's finally making money off striking, which is like, hard on your body, all this stuff, by having to compete all the way in Thailand. Yeah. Like with one, like there's nothing in the US base, which is wild because like we love combat sports. It'd be cool to be able to like have one of these things just take off.
I would rather watch kickboxing than boxing.
Yeah. I think having more options sometimes is more entertaining because like you might have, and it makes more mismatches, I think. Or not even mismatches, sorry, makes more interesting matches. Because someone might be a heavy kicker, someone might be a heavy puncher, and that's a cool thing to see. Like, what will happen? In boxing, because there's only like 2 tools, you got hands.
Yeah, there's also just more ways to get knocked out, which is people want to see crazy knockouts. Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up after this because it's at an hour. Yeah. But like Mike Perry's promotion, where he like kind of adjusted the rules of like, basically made a new combat sport. Yeah. It's dirty boxing. You can box, you can clinch, you can elbow, and you can ground and pound. So, and you have 8-ounce puffy MMA gloves on. Yeah. It's so sick. It's like, you can sit there and be like a technical boxer and stay away and like stay at range. Or you can get like in the clinch in like the dirty part of the fight and like elbows and like dirty box and like, and then the cool thing is like if you drop somebody at any point, even if you're sitting at range of boxing, you can go finish them out with ground and pound. Like I think that shit's tight. Yeah. So I think they should make a promotion which I guess would be Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I don't know all the rules between Muay Thai and kickboxing, but if they made a promotion where
Biggest difference is like kickboxing, you're not allowed to. Most of the time, most of them won't let you like catch a kick, and then you can't really clinch. Like you clinch, and then they just break it up.
I want it to be like you can elbow, knee, everything else is legal, but you can also ground and pound.
Yeah, I
don't want any standing 8 counts because like the ref can like count slow or like count fast or like, and you also, I think it's more dangerous for fighters because like if you get fucked up and you're concussed, but they're giving you an 8 count, you're like, yeah, I'm good. I can stand here and take more damage. They're like, are you good? You're like, yeah. They're only gonna let you keep fighting. But if you're getting pounded out on the ground, like the fight's over. So like,
they'll stop it.
Yeah, it'll probably be less damaging for fighters.
Yeah, and that's what it's actually similar to like the Mike Perry thing. I think that's why is making karate combat so popular and its uptick is because they let like ground and pound too for striking.
I forgot about that when you were talking about striking.
Yeah,
I think they could be.
No, I think the one thing I don't love, and I know they're just trying to be traditional because they're like, oh, you got to wear the gi and stuff. And I think I don't like that, but like it's cool to see it. But I'm like, yeah, dude, because like there's some people like there's some striking sports that don't wear gi, like Muay Thai, no gi. You just wear super short shorts. Yeah, dude, I'll rep it, dude. I just want to fight, but like there's it's like Muay Thai just a little shorts. Like I was funny, like if you instead of the shorts, yeah. Yeah, dude.
Right.
Yeah,
any
well,
closing statements.
Not too much. Like, we don't have really anything else going on for closing it up, but we appreciate everyone watching this episode. That's all we have for you.
UFC 311 quick picks. Just
a
main card.
Yeah.
Islam versus Moicano. No.
Islam.
Merab versus Umar.
Umar.
Kevin Holland versus DeRitter.
DeRitter. I know. I think that's what we differed last week.
And then what's the other fight? I'm trying to think of it. I think the heavyweight. I think the big heavyweights. Almeida, maybe. They might be in the prelims. Peyton Talbot. I know Peyton Talbot.
That's the last fight of the prelims.
I think Peyton Talbot wins out.
Oh, I think he's gonna smack.
Like 38.
Yeah, dude. I don't think
he's gonna be like ranked probably within the year.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's gonna be fun to he's fun to watch, and I'm excited to see who he fights next.
There's 3 fights. Kevin Holland, Beneil Dariush was on the main card, but he's not anymore because he lost.
And I
don't know the other one.
Yeah, and I mean I think it sucks that Dariush isn't gonna get paid.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like
he got paid.
Oh, did he get paid?
He got
okay.
paid to show and win money.
Oh, he did. Okay, sick. Yeah, because I mean like. I think he was losing that fight against Moicano.
Yeah, dude. I think Moicano's good.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to go empty the tank against Islam.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get out of here.
Yep. All right, guys, that ends up wrapping up episode 2.
Still nameless.
So in the comments below, guys, just let us know what you want us to talk about next and any names that you guys want to suggest to us. We're all open to it. Peace.